Hello everybody, Phil Snyder here. Our elected Salt Lake County officials put together a vote to put on the November 6th ballot called the Public Safety Bond, which did fail, fortunately, a 52 to 48% vote against the measure. But the proposal to the voters was to, again, tax us for how many times have they done this already? Proposing a $500 million public safety bond to build a, quote, Justice and Accountability Center, also known as a new jail. The new jail proposed, this Justice and Accountability Center, would add to the already 2,000 jail beds that we currently have in our two jails that we already do have in Salt Lake County, between the Adult Detention Center, and the Oxbow Jail, which was built 20 years ago. What these news articles don't mention is that the taxpayers, and yes, I live in Salt Lake County, we already paid for that second Oxbow Jail about 20 years ago. And some news sources are not mentioning that they want to destroy the jail, a perfectly good jail, so that they can sell the land as part of the deal. I wonder what's behind that deal. Why are we destroying a perfectly good jail and building another one? If this isn't an example of government waste and expecting the taxpayers to fund this nonsense, I don't know what is. Here's an idea for you, for our elected officials. What about that big sheriff's office, former UPD building that's on 33rd South and 9th West? Is there any room in there that we could have that accountability center? House Bill 374 required our Sheriff Rosie Rivera to step down as CEO of her own Unified Police Department, and which made all of the Unified Police Department move out of the building. Certainly there's probably some room in that building to have an accountability center. Yes, there are no jail beds in there, but do we really even need more jail beds? What people don't understand is this $500 million public safety bond is just to build this new jail or accountability center, right? It's just going to be a big money pit for the taxpayers. And then we're going to have to hire officers to staff the jail at what? $100,000 a year per officer. And we're going to have to staff it with drug counselors and social workers and all that. So, it's not really being transparent. We're going to pay a lot more than $500 million, and it's going to need ongoing funding to keep that thing going. Are the two county jails that we have in Salt Lake County not enough? Are 2,000 jail beds that we've had over the last 20 years no longer working? A 2,000 capacity jail should only house people that need to be in jail. It shouldn't be a place for the homeless to stay. It should be a place for people that are, for example, violent offenders, maybe domestic violence and protective order violations, some DUIs, things like that. That's about it. It should be for people that are going to be a harm to the community if they are let out and they need to be confined to a jail cell. I would really be interested to know and have a printout of the jail bookings and housing over the last year to see who is actually sitting in our jail taking up those 2,000 bed jail spaces. I have a 30-year law enforcement career. I've worked a number of assignments, including 2 in corrections. I did work in the Salt Lake County Jail. And I'll tell you, I saw a number of people in the jail that didn't need to be in there. For example, a lot of weed smokers were in there for drug offenses. I don't know of any weed smokers in my 30 years of law enforcement career that were a danger to the community. They just wanted to smoke weed and eat Cheetos and watch movies and video games, and They weren't a danger to the community, but then you would see a lot of them in there for that. Commonly what I would see is people sitting in jail for traffic warrants. Why are they in our jail? And best of all, your Salt Lake County Sheriff, Rosie Rivera, supports the public safety bond to build the Justice and Accountability Center. I'm sorry, Rosie Rivera probably doesn't want to hear this, but you know what? There's a better way to run that jail than what it's currently being run. Salt Lake County has a homeless problem, no question about it. And what goes hand in hand with that is a mental health and a drug abuse problem as well. They're all interconnected. But the focus shouldn't be on spending $500 million to demolish a perfectly good jail and to build a more modern jail with more jail beds and label it as a Justice and Accountability Center. The focus should be more training with law enforcement officers, more CIT officers, that is crisis intervention officers, also known as mental health officers. The money should go towards mental health and drug abuse treatment and hiring more social workers and case managers to deal with these, what elected officials call petty offenses that are not a public safety threat to the community. The jail has an ankle monitoring program. Why can't we put some of these people on ankle monitors? That's certainly going to be less money than building a new $500 million jail. Elections also matter as part of solving this problem. Judges and prosecutors need to be willing to hold minor offenders, mental health and drug offenders accountable. Some courts don't even have a mental health court, and that's wrong. Every court should have a mental health court for drug offenders and mental health consumers in the community that need treatment versus sitting in a jail cell. I know a number of judges, they're just too lenient on criminals that come to court. Criminal defendants that come to court, they slap their hands, they ignore the problems of mental health and drug abuse factors, and they just get slipped through the cracks. I saw somebody on a news source saying that people that are exiting the jail have no resources, and that's very concerning to me, especially when we want to build a new $500 million jail and we haven't tried services first. We need to vet our elected officials more thoroughly. We should be asking for a commitment to solve these problems that I've mentioned through the manners that I described, and not just believe that they could just throw money at it and expect we, the taxpayers, to keep footing the bill for that. I'm getting tired of paying all the tax money. Why don't we just cut off our leg and give that to them as well? I would be willing to volunteer my time to sit down with our elected officials and come up with a solution to this homeless and mental health and drug abuse problem that is rampant in our county, that doesn't involve building a $500 million new jail. I'll even sign a confidentiality agreement so that I can look at everything and determine if that's really what we need. And watch on the next election, because they're going to regroup and they're going to try to submit another tax proposal for us. And without some transparency, I don't think that we should be paying any more tax money for this. I think that we need to look at how efficient our government officials are running our county. Not just our sheriff, but also our county mayor and our county council men and women. I'll put an email or some contact information in the description, and please share this with as many residents of Salt Lake County as you know, and share this with your sheriff, Rosie Rivera, and your Salt Lake County Mayor, Jenny Wilson. I'm happy to try to help solve this problem. Thanks for watching.